Hey coach, I have a date with a different woman tomorrow. She's 23 and has a kid. She said she's down for a swimming date, but will bring her kid. But she told me she doesn't know how I feel about it.
Well, it sounds like you already made the date and already agreed to it. So if you already said yes, because that's not a good sign. A woman who is a good mother is not going to be bringing her child to first dates unless she knows the guy and feels comfortable with him. Chicks that do that,
You're not
That's
the first
weird.
guy that baby's with.
yeah, that's just she probably came from a broken home, no dad around, doesn't have a close family, doesn't have anybody to babysit the kid, and she just brings the kid everywhere. Because are you gonna seduce her? I mean, you have a swimming date, so it sounds like you're there to entertain her and her son, and it's not really a date.
Oh,
So
we're hungry. Can you get us some food now
yeah,
after?
oh yeah, we're hungry, or hey, can you get my son a hot dog and some chips and a soda?
Yeah, how are you supposed to get to know her or anything?
Yeah,
Or
I
get
I would have
busy?
if she says, "Hey, I'm sure your son or your daughter is just awesome, and I love kids, and I'm excited to meet him someday, but we just met, and I'd like to you and I get to know each other first. It's just a little too early for us to be involving your children when you and I are trying to get to know each other. So, she needs to have a babysitter or a family member that can watch her kid, and that's a reasonable request. Again, a good mother is not gonna that comes from a good family is not gonna be unless she just has nobody in her life and no close family is not gonna be bringing her kids to first dates. And so if you make a date a swimming date that sounds like it was her idea to go to a swimming pool, then that means that most of the time when women do that, they're using their kid as the cock blocker. Because what she's really looking for you to do
Yeah.
is to take him to date, take him to and spend money on.
Look, he just updated us. Haven't replied back yet to her, but before asking, is the pool
Yeah,
at your house or is it first date? I guess you want to give us more details, Logan?
yeah, I would think if that's your first date, that's not a good sign. So I would just tell her just like what I said, tactfully say, hey, I think I'm sure your kids are awesome, and I look forward to meeting them someday. But I'd like to get to you and I to get to know each other before we start involving our children, our friends, our family in each other's lives. Because when women do that, usually they're looking for something. They're looking for you to take her to, she thinks of you platonically, and she's looking for you to take her and her kid out and entertain the two of you. And by having the kid there, are you going to try to make out with the kid in front of the mom? It's like her make out. Did I just say that? Make out with the mom.
You've been saying some crazy things.
Somebody's gonna cut that out of here and be like, he said this.
Yeah. You know. I wouldn't personally do it. It's a bad way to start. So again, that's typically what women do. They use their kids as cock blockers to prevent any hanky panky or any kind of romance happening, and they usually do that with guys that they only are interested in friend zone with, and using you for your time and your resources to entertain her and her kid and spend money on them, and maybe you'll get a hug and a kiss in the cheek at the end of the night. So you're interested in sex and romance and an adult, mature relationship, not basically being a tour guide or a butler for her and her child.
Then you say only hold a girl's hand, etc. if she holds yours first on a date, but you
Nope, that's not what I said. It's not hold if she holds your hand first. What typically happens when women are ready to be touched, they start bumping into you. And so if you're walking side by side, what happens is her hand starts to kind of swing at the same pace that yours are and it bumps yours. When that happens, then you take her hand. This is why I
but
say read it 10 to 15 times. That little bit of context makes a big difference because if you don't pick that up and then you're just grabbing women's hands and holding on to it and then grabbing it when they let go, you're not going to understand why you're turning women off. You'll be touching them when they're not ready to be touched. So you're paying attention to what they do. Again, this is one of the many reasons why I say read the book 10 to 15 times. You're assuming something about the book that's completely wrong.
He said, but you also say get physical from the start. This doesn't add up in my mind.
Get physical from the start?
Yeah.
I don't remember saying get physical from the start. The book is designed to when a woman likes you and she's ready to be touched, she starts like if you're walking next to each other, she'll bump into you. If you're standing talking, she's going to touch your arm. She's going to bump into you with her shoulder. She might punch you playfully in the shoulder. When women like you, they come up with reasons to touch you. They might want to show you something with their phone and they'll reach across the table and show you the phone while they put their hand on your arm. If you're sitting next to each other, her knee will be bumping yours. That's when a woman starts physically touching you like that, that's her invitation that touching is okay. And that's when you escalate. So, are you a cherry picker? Have you actually read the book? Because you should know better. This is, again, when you just thumb through the book, you don't get the context of these little things that make a world of difference. And so if you don't understand that, you could be going out on dates and putting your hands all over girls and they're not ready to be touched and they don't like it. And then you don't get to second dates. Those are little subtle nuances. It might not sound like a big deal, but it makes a huge deal.
I fear to approach younger looking girls just because not sure if they're over 18. Any advice?
So go someplace where that's really not an issue. I mean, if you're in a bar and she's drinking a cocktail, she's probably 21 or older.
Let me see your license.
Yeah. I had a few. I remember one night. This was back in the day when I was in real estate, and we were all partying. We went into this place. It was one of our favorite restaurants. They had live music, and anyways, the hostess just had the hots for me, and she was young. And so the next day, we woke up together. The first thing that came to my mind was like, "Oh my God, that girl's young. Was she 18 at least?" And her license was right on my nightstand. I happened to look at it. I was like, I had a little bit of a heart attack there for a moment.
Yeah.
Because I had been drinking too much. And she came hanging out with us. I invited her. And like I said, the next day I woke up with her in my bed and I was like, oh my God, the fuck have I done? And then she was 18 and a half. So it was like, safe.
It's 18 and a half.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Well, I think it's messed up when if like a girl lies about her age, like someone said sometimes they lie. They should, and then the guy gets in trouble. Somebody finds out and the guy gets in trouble. The girl should go to jail too for lying. That's messed up because you're messing up somebody else's life.
Yeah, I know.
That's
But
just
the
messed
liberals are the
up.
ones writing the laws and they don't care. And typically neither do the attorney generals. They need another scalp for their reelection campaign or their promotion. They don't give a fuck. A lot of them are psychopaths, unfortunately.